Are you seeking to transform your life and find inner peace through the teachings of Buddhism? In this video, we will discuss the importance of embracing responsibility and its impact on our journey towards inner peace and enlightenment. Lesson 1. Acknowledge personal responsibility. Acknowledge personal responsibility is not only the first step toward transforming your life, but also one of the most fundamental principles that shape how we perceive and interact with the world around us. By understanding and accepting that we have agency over our actions, emotions, and decisions, we empower ourselves to live intentionally, creating a life that aligns with our deepest values. No one else can live your life for you. No one else is responsible for your happiness, success, or well-being. Yes, external factors such as upbringing, environment, relationships, and even unexpected life events may impact you. But ultimately, how you interpret and respond to those influences lies within your control. This is the core essence of personal responsibility. A key barrier to embracing personal responsibility is the tendency to adopt a victim mindset. When we view ourselves as victims of circumstance, we give away our power. We place the blame for our problems on external factors, be it our parents, society, a bad job, or even bad luck. While it is natural to feel hurt or frustrated by life's difficulties, staying in this mindset traps us in a cycle of helplessness and resentment. To fully embrace personal responsibility, we must move away from the victim mentality. This shift in mindset requires acknowledging that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond to it. The world may present us with hardships and challenges, but we get to decide how we let those experiences shape us. For example, consider someone who grew up in a difficult home environment. It's easy to blame their current struggles on their past, and it's understandable why they might feel this way. However, by holding on to the belief that their past dictates their future, they limit their potential for growth and healing. On the other hand, by taking responsibility for their present actions, despite their past, they can begin to create new patterns, build healthier relationships, and shape a different future. A major aspect of personal responsibility is recognizing the power of choice. Every moment, we are presented with choices, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem. Whether it's choosing how to spend our time, how to react in a heated situation, or how to approach our goals, each decision shapes our life. Acknowledging personal responsibility means becoming aware of these choices and making them consciously. This requires mindfulness, being present and aware of the decisions you're making, instead of acting on autopilot or being driven by old habits. When we live mindfully, we are better able to choose responses that align with our values and long-term goals, rather than being reactive or impulsive. It's important to remember that making choices comes with accountability. When we acknowledge that our actions are our own, we also accept the consequences that come with them, both positive and negative. This doesn't mean punishing ourselves for mistakes. Rather, it's about understanding that every choice has an impact, and taking responsibility for those outcomes helps us learn and grow. One of the most empowering realizations that comes with accepting personal responsibility is that it leads to true freedom. Many people view responsibility as a burden, something heavy that limits their freedom to act as they wish. But in reality, the more we take responsibility for our lives, the freer we become. When we take ownership of our thoughts, actions, and emotions, we are no longer bound by the expectations or judgments of others. We become free to create a life that is authentically our own. We no longer need to wait for external approval or validation to feel worthy or fulfilled. By being responsible for our own happiness and well-being, we reclaim the power to define success and joy on our own terms. This freedom is deeply liberating because it shifts the focus from external conditions to internal mastery. When you stop blaming the world for your problems and start taking ownership of your life, you realize that nothing external can truly limit your growth or happiness unless you allow it to. You hold the key to your own liberation, and personal responsibility unlocks the door. Another aspect of acknowledging personal responsibility is overcoming the fear of failure. Many people are afraid to take responsibility for their lives because they fear making the wrong choice or failing in their attempts. This fear can be paralyzing, causing people to stay stuck in indecision or complacency, waiting for someone else to make things better. Failure is a natural part of growth. When you take responsibility for your actions, you give yourself permission to try, fail, learn, and try again. Rather than seeing failure as something to avoid, you begin to see it as a valuable teacher. Each failure provides insight into what works, what doesn't, and where adjustments need to be made. The important thing is not to let the fear of failure stop you from taking action. By embracing personal responsibility, you accept that failures are a part of the journey, not the end of it. The more responsibility you take for your actions, the more resilient you become in the face of setbacks. You start to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. It's not just our external actions that we need to take responsibility for. Our inner world, including our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, also plays a huge role in shaping our lives. Many people go through life believing that their emotions are entirely dictated by external circumstances. If something bad happens, they feel sad or angry. If something good happens, they feel happy. But this way of thinking puts us at the mercy of the outside world. When we acknowledge personal responsibility, we realize that we can choose how we interpret and respond to situations. We have the power to shape our emotional responses by cultivating awareness of our inner thoughts and beliefs. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending to feel a certain way. Rather, it's about recognizing that while emotions arise naturally, we have the ability to influence how long they last and how we act on them. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you might feel anger or frustration. But instead of letting that anger fester and ruin your day, you can choose to let it go. You can recognize that the event itself is not within your control, but your reaction to it is. By taking responsibility for your emotional state, you cultivate inner peace and resilience, regardless of external circumstances. Another important area where personal responsibility plays a critical role is in relationships. Many people fall into the trap of expecting others to fulfill their needs or blaming others when things go wrong in a relationship. But healthy, meaningful relationships are built on the foundation of mutual responsibility. Taking personal responsibility means recognizing your role in conflicts, misunderstandings, or disappointments. It means owning your part in the dynamic rather than pointing fingers or expecting the other person to change. By taking responsibility, you empower yourself to improve the relationship by focusing on what you can control, your own actions, communication, and behavior. Acknowledging personal responsibility is the cornerstone of personal transformation. It is the realization that we are the creators of our own experience, and that our thoughts, choices, and actions determine the quality of our lives. When we embrace responsibility, we move away from victimhood and step into a place of empowerment, where we can actively shape our future. Taking responsibility for your life is not always easy. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to face your own limitations and mistakes. But it is also deeply liberating. When you take ownership of your life, you unlock the power to create meaningful, lasting change. You become freed from the constraints of blame, fear, and resentment, and you open yourself to a life of growth, purpose, and fulfillment. Personal responsibility is not about perfection. It's about progress, accountability, and the power of choice. Each moment offers a new opportunity to take responsibility for your life, and with each choice, you move closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Lesson 2. Let go of blame. Blame is a common reaction when things go wrong in life. Whether it's blaming other people, external circumstances, or even ourselves, blame often feels like the easiest response to pain or disappointment. However, while it might provide temporary relief or justification, blame is a weight that keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity, preventing personal growth and healing. Letting go of blame is one of the most liberating and transformative steps you can take on your journey to self-responsibility and empowerment. When we blame others for our problems, we hand over our personal power. We allow external factors, people, situations, or past experiences to dictate how we feel and behave. By doing so, we lose control over our own emotions and actions, placing the responsibility for our happiness or suffering in someone else's hands. This mindset creates a sense of helplessness. We wait for others to change, for apologies to be made, or for circumstances to improve before we allow ourselves to feel better. But waiting for others to act in ways that align with our expectations can keep us stuck in frustration or anger for years, sometimes even a lifetime. Blaming ourselves can be equally destructive. Self-blame feeds feelings of guilt, shame, and unworthiness. When we constantly criticize ourselves for mistakes we've made or opportunities we've missed, we hold ourselves back from moving forward. We may get stuck in a pattern of negative thinking that prevents us from seeing our own potential for growth. Self-blame can also cause us to avoid taking risks or trying new things out of fear that we will fail again. Blame keeps us focused on the past, on things that have already happened and cannot be changed. It creates a mental prison where our thoughts revolve around what went wrong and who is at fault, instead of looking ahead to how we can make things better moving forward. Letting go of blame is not about ignoring the past or pretending that wrongs didn't happen. It's about releasing the emotional hold these events have on us so that we can live more fully in the present. One of the most powerful ways to let go of blame is through forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as condoning hurtful behavior or forgetting what happened. In reality, forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. When you forgive, you are choosing to free yourself from the emotional pain that blame causes. You are deciding that you will no longer allow the past to control your present feelings or dictate your future actions. Forgiving someone who has wronged you can be challenging, especially if the hurt was deep or prolonged. However, holding on to resentment and anger only continues to hurt you. It's important to understand that forgiveness doesn't mean you have to reconcile with the person or let them back into your life. It simply means that you are choosing to release the grip that the situation has on your emotions. By forgiving, you take back control of your inner world and create space for healing and peace. Forgiveness also applies to ourselves. Many of us carry heavy burdens of self-blame and guilt, replaying moments from the past where we feel we've failed or hurt others. These emotions can weigh us down, making it difficult to move forward. Self-forgiveness is a vital step in letting go of blame. Understand that you are human, and like everyone else, you are imperfect. You make mistakes, but those mistakes do not define your worth or your potential. Self-forgiveness allows you to learn from your past without being trapped by it. Letting go of blame doesn't mean ignoring responsibility. Instead, it's about shifting from blame to accountability. While blame looks for fault, accountability looks for solutions. Accountability is about acknowledging your role in any given situation and taking ownership of your actions without harsh self-judgment or pointing fingers at others. When you shift from blame to accountability, you take responsibility for your responses to situations, regardless of who or what triggered them. For example, you may not be able to control how someone treats you, but you can control how you react. Do you react with anger and resentment, or with calmness and understanding? When you take accountability, you empower yourself to choose how to respond in ways that align with your values and support your personal growth. Accountability also helps you move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. In a fixed mindset, we believe that situations are unchangeable and that our abilities are static. Blame thrives in this mindset because it allows us to remain stuck, thinking that we are victims of circumstances beyond our control. In contrast, a growth mindset acknowledges that we can always learn and improve, even in difficult situations. When we take accountability, we focus on what we can learn from our experiences and how we can grow from them. A significant part of letting go of blame is releasing the need to control everything. Blame often stems from a desire to have control over outcomes, relationships, or situations. When things don't go as planned, We look for someone or something to blame because it helps us feel that we could have prevented the negative outcome if only something had been different. But in reality, much of life is beyond our control. Accepting that we cannot control everything is a liberating realization. It allows us to stop wasting energy trying to force things to go our way or to change people who don't want to change. Instead, we can focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. By shifting our attention inward, we reclaim our power. We stop relying on external circumstances or people to make us feel a certain way, and instead create the peace, joy, and fulfillment we seek from within. Letting go of blame also involves cultivating compassion, both for others and for ourselves. Compassion is the ability to understand and empathize with the experiences of others, even when they've hurt us. When we practice compassion, we recognize that everyone is doing the best they can with the knowledge, tools, and experiences they have. People make mistakes, act out of fear or pain, and sometimes hurt others in the process. While this doesn't excuse harmful behavior, it helps us understand that blaming them indefinitely won't lead to healing. Compassion toward ourselves allows us to release the harsh self-judgment that comes with self-blame. When we approach our own mistakes with kindness, we open the door to self-forgiveness and personal growth. We understand that we, like everyone else, are imperfect and that our mistakes are opportunities for learning and improvement. Letting go of blame is not easy, but it is one of the most liberating steps you can take toward personal transformation. When you release the need to blame others or yourself, you free up the mental and emotional space needed for healing, growth, and peace. You become empowered to take responsibility for your own life, regardless of external circumstances, and you cultivate a deeper sense of compassion and understanding for yourself and others. Lesson 3. Commit to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is one of the most powerful commitments you can make for personal and spiritual growth. In this lesson, we explore why continuously learning is essential, how it impacts your transformation, and how to cultivate a mindset of learning that supports a life of growth and fulfillment. At the heart of lifelong learning is the understanding that growth is a continuous process. No matter how much we think we know or how much we've experienced, there is always more to learn. Life, in its vast complexity, constantly offers us new lessons through our successes, challenges, relationships, and everyday experiences. By committing to lifelong learning, we remain open to these lessons, which allows us to evolve and adapt in ways that lead to a richer, more meaningful life. Lifelong learning also keeps us humble. When we recognize that we do not have all the answers, we are more willing to listen, to explore different perspectives, and to accept that growth often comes from unexpected sources. This humility is essential for transformation because it encourages us to release rigid beliefs and embrace flexibility and openness. Lifelong learners understand that change is inevitable and that by remaining open to learning, they are better equipped to navigate life's ups and downs. Committing to lifelong learning fosters a sense of curiosity and wonder. Instead of becoming complacent or stuck in the routines of daily life, lifelong learners view each day as an opportunity for discovery. Whether it's learning something new about ourselves, exploring a new idea, or gaining insight from others, this curiosity keeps us engaged and energized. It transforms life from a series of obligations into a journey of discovery and exploration. Another important part of the lifelong learning mindset is resilience. Lifelong learners understand that growth often comes from setbacks and failures. Instead of being discouraged by mistakes, they view them as valuable learning experiences. When you commit to lifelong learning, you recognize that failure is not the end, but rather a stepping stone on the path to success. Each setback provides an opportunity to reflect, adjust, and try again with more wisdom and insight. This resilience allows you to continue growing, even in the face of challenges. Mindfulness is the ability to be present in the moment and to observe your thoughts and experiences without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, you become more aware of the lessons that life is offering you in real time. You notice patterns in your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, and this awareness helps you identify areas where you can grow. Mindfulness also encourages a sense of gratitude, as it helps you appreciate the small, everyday moments that contribute to your learning and growth. One of the simplest and most effective ways to continue learning is to read regularly. Books, articles, and blogs provide endless opportunities for expanding your knowledge and gaining new perspectives. Choose reading materials that challenge your thinking, expose you to different ideas, and inspire personal growth. Whether it's a book on personal development, a spiritual text, or a biography of someone you admire, reading helps you stay engaged with learning. Reflection is a powerful tool for lifelong learning. By taking the time to reflect on your experiences, thoughts, and emotions, you gain deeper insights into yourself and your life. Set aside time each day or week to reflect on what you've learned, what challenges you faced, and how you've grown. Journaling can be a helpful way to process your reflections and keep track of your personal growth. While lifelong learning goes beyond formal education, pursuing structured learning opportunities can be a valuable part of your growth journey. This could be taking a course, attending a workshop, or learning a new skill. The key is to choose learning opportunities that align with your interests and goals. Whether it's expanding your professional skills or exploring a new area of interest, formal learning can provide a structured way to continue growing. As you commit to lifelong learning, it's important to practice self-compassion. Growth is a lifelong journey, and there will be times when you make mistakes, face challenges, or feel uncertain. Instead of being hard on yourself during these moments, practice self-compassion by acknowledging that learning is a process. Treat yourself with kindness and patience, knowing that every step you take is part of your journey toward growth. Committing to lifelong learning brings numerous benefits to your personal, emotional, and spiritual well-being. When you embrace a mindset of continuous growth, you become more adaptable to change, more resilient in the face of challenges, and more open to new possibilities. Lifelong learners are more likely to approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder, which leads to greater fulfillment and joy. Lifelong learning also strengthens your relationships. When you are committed to growing and evolving, you bring more awareness, empathy, and understanding to your interactions with others. You become more open to listening, learning from others, and seeing the world from different perspectives, which enhances your connections and enriches your relationships. Lifelong learning fosters a sense of purpose and meaning. When you are constantly growing and learning, you feel a deeper sense of engagement with life. You recognize that every experience, whether positive or challenging, is an opportunity for growth, and this gives you a greater sense of purpose and direction. Committing to lifelong learning is a transformative practice that empowers you to continuously grow, adapt, and evolve. By cultivating a mindset of curiosity, resilience, and mindfulness, and by embracing practical ways to learn and grow, you can create a life that is rich with meaning, growth, and fulfillment. Lifelong learning is not just a path to personal development. It is a way of living that keeps you engaged, empowered, and aligned with your highest potential. Lesson 4. Understand the nature of suffering. Suffering is a universal experience. Everyone, at some point, faces pain, loss, or hardship. The fourth lesson teaches us to understand the nature of suffering so that we can transform our relationship with it. While suffering is an inevitable part of life, how we respond to it determines whether it becomes a source of growth or a source of further pain. First, we must accept that suffering exists. Many people spend their lives running away from discomfort, trying to avoid pain at all costs. But this avoidance only amplifies suffering. The more we try to escape, the more it follows us. The key to transforming suffering lies in facing it head-on, acknowledging its presence, and understanding that it is a part of the human condition. Once we accept the reality of suffering, we can begin to explore its causes. Often, our suffering is not caused by external events themselves, but by our attachment to how we think things should be. We suffer when reality doesn't align with our expectations or desires. This attachment creates tension, frustration, and pain. By recognizing that much of our suffering is self-inflicted, we can start to let go of the need to control everything and instead learn to accept life as it is. Understanding the nature of suffering also involves recognizing its impermanence. No matter how intense our pain may feel in the moment, it will eventually pass. Everything in life is temporary, including suffering. When we remind ourselves of this truth, we can endure hardships with greater resilience and hope. Suffering can be a powerful teacher. Through our struggles, we gain wisdom, empathy, and strength. While it is natural to wish for a life free of pain, it is often through our darkest moments that we grow the most. By embracing suffering as a part of the journey, we transform it from an obstacle into an opportunity for profound growth. Lesson 5. Embrace continuous self-reflection. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth. It allows us to examine our thoughts, actions, and behaviors with honesty and clarity. The fifth lesson teaches us the importance of embracing continuous self-reflection as a way to stay aligned with our true selves and to make conscious choices in our lives. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the business of daily life without taking the time to reflect. But without reflection, we risk losing sight of our values and our purpose. Continuous self-reflection helps us stay grounded and aware of who we are and what we want to create in our lives. Self-reflection requires honesty. It's not about judging ourselves harshly or dwelling on our mistakes, but rather about looking at our actions and attitudes with a clear and open mind. When we reflect, we gain insight into why we do the things we do, what motivates us, and where we might be holding ourselves back. This awareness is the first step toward making positive changes. To embrace self-reflection, we must also practice self-compassion. As we examine our thoughts and behaviors, we may come across areas where we have fallen short of our own expectations or where we have made mistakes. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we can choose to approach these moments with kindness and understanding. Remember that self-reflection is not about perfection. It's about progress. Another important aspect of self-reflection is accountability. When we take the time to reflect on our actions, we become more accountable for the choices we make. We recognize that our thoughts and behaviors have an impact on our lives and the lives of others. This accountability empowers us to take responsibility for our growth and to make conscious, intentional choices moving forward. Lesson 6. Empower yourself through self-agency. Self-agency refers to the belief that you have the power to shape your life through your actions, decisions, and attitudes. When you embrace self-agency, you recognize that you are not a passive observer of your life, but an active participant. To develop self-agency, it's essential to cultivate a sense of inner strength and resilience. Life is full of challenges, but when we believe in our ability to overcome obstacles, we become empowered. This doesn't mean that we have control over everything that happens to us, but it does mean that we have control over how we respond to these events. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions are within our power, and when we take ownership of them, we can navigate life's challenges with greater confidence. Self-agency also requires a sense of personal responsibility. When we take responsibility for our actions and decisions, we become empowered to make changes in our lives. This is not about blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong, but about recognizing that we have the ability to choose how we respond to situations. By embracing responsibility, we free ourselves from the victim mentality and step into a place of empowerment. Empowerment through self-agency also means setting clear intentions for your life. When you have a vision for what you want to create, you can take purposeful actions to move toward that vision. This doesn't mean that everything will always go according to plan, but having a clear direction helps you stay focused and motivated, even in the face of setbacks. Self-agency is about trusting yourself. Trust that you have the wisdom and strength to make the right choices for your life. Trust that, even in moments of uncertainty, you are capable of finding your way. When you trust yourself, you empower yourself to take bold action and pursue the life you desire. Lesson 7. Overcome delusion. Delusion is the false perception of reality that clouds our understanding of ourselves and the world. It manifests in various forms, such as attachment to material possessions, unhealthy relationships, or misguided beliefs about happiness. Overcoming delusion is essential for transforming your life, as it allows you to see clearly and make decisions that are aligned with your true self. To overcome delusion, you must first recognize where it exists in your life. Delusion often arises from our desires, fears, and attachments. We may believe that happiness comes from external achievements, possessions, or approval from others, but this is a delusion. True happiness comes from within, from a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. One of the most common delusions is the belief that we are separate from others. This belief creates division, conflict, and suffering. In reality, we are all interconnected, and our actions have an impact on those around us. When we overcome the delusion of separateness, we cultivate compassion and empathy for others, recognizing that their struggles are our struggles, and their joys are our joys. Another form of delusion is the attachment to a fixed sense of self. We often identify ourselves with our roles, labels, or past experiences, but this is a limited view of who we truly are. We are constantly evolving, and when we let go of rigid definitions of ourselves, we open ourselves to new possibilities and growth. Overcoming delusion requires mindfulness and self-awareness. By practicing mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without getting caught up in them. This awareness helps us see through the illusions that distort our perception of reality. With clarity, we can make choices that are aligned with our true nature and lead to lasting fulfillment. Transforming your life by embracing full responsibility is a powerful journey. Through these lessons, you can cultivate self-awareness, resilience, and empowerment. By acknowledging personal responsibility, letting go of blame, committing to lifelong learning, understanding suffering, practicing self-reflection, embracing self-agency, and overcoming delusion, you can create a life of meaning, peace, and joy.